Whether it is because of the constantly competitive matches, the ever-present Twitter wars, or just one of those many roster shuffles, Dota 2 has been blessed with some truly remarkable rivalries since the very beginning. Although many have been around for years, one particular rivalry stands head and shoulders above them all: Na'Vi versus the Alliance. Historic, iconic, epic. These are one of the many ways to describe one of the greatest rivalries in the history of esport. But nothing quite encompasses this rivalry than the title bestowed upon it by none other than the passionate fans, the El Clasico.
It all comes down to this.
Oh, cancel TP! He canceled the TP!
One more game.
Coil on two. Cancel Stendy's TP as well!
$2 million on the table. It could be game.
Down to about half HP! A quarter HP! They're gonna do it!
The genesis of the Na'Vi vs Alliance rivalry goes all the way back to early 2013, when a humble band of Swedish players had just won the G1 Season 5 Western qualifiers and travelled all the way to China and truly attempted to do what no Western team was capable of.
Their fountain, GG from Xiaowei. The Alliance are your G1 League Season 5 champions. They take home over $40,000 and a lot of pride for Sweden.
Beating China in their own home turf. Once there, the Alliance made a statement, conquering China without dropping a single game and establishing themselves as the de facto #1 team in the West. Na'Vi took notice. Na'Vi was by far the most successful Western team in Dota 2. In the years leading up to 2013, they'd won a TI and several other LAN trophies in the West, but they'd never won a LAN in China. However, with Alliance winning the G1 Season 5 finals, Na'Vi had to answer.
Noah Burrow through him, Puppy, catches two, Yao to fall, Xiaowei Tsun and the GG from Xiaowei. Na'Vi, they came, they saw, and they conquered. They will repeat what Alliance did at the G1 League LAN finals.
Alliance were off to a trailblazing start, taking down every team in the groups and going on to the playoffs undefeated. The Alliance just couldn't be stopped. They took down Chinese juggernauts LGD Gaming.
It's up through the rear. There goes your Rocket Barrage. Flat cannon as well. It's GG. Alliance. They will advance. They will face DK. Will tap out.
And Team DK to qualify for the winner bracket finals with a stellar 18-1 win-loss record. Na'Vi were no pushovers either. They too topped their group stage and made it all the way to the winner bracket finals without dropping a single series. Although they did it with some unique strategies, including a fountain hook strategy, which many, including the Alliance captain Loda, deemed unfair and unbalanced.
Kung Fu had that game. Is that balanced? You hook a guy with Aegis? It should be. Oh my god.
Na'Vi and Alliance walked into the Benaroya Hall as favourites, a match that is still regarded as one of the best Dota 2 series of all time. Game 1 saw Na'Vi draft an unorthodox lineup featuring a number of unique picks.
It's a bounty hunter for Na'Vi. There is no clear carry on this team.
But Alliance's standard lineup was simply more than enough to stomp Na'Vi in under 16 minutes.
2-11, and they're gonna GG!
Oh my god!
GG!
16-minute GG, and they're gonna get that final last kill. Alliance just dominating Na'Vi.
Na'Vi came back with a vengeance in Game 2 as they replied in similar fashion, destroying Alliance in a 20-minute rout to even out the series.
Kills the gold lead 30,000, and it's GG! What was once a best of 5 is now resetting to a best of 3. It's all tied up. Na'Vi have struck back with a vengeance.
Game 3 saw Na'Vi go back to their unconventional strategies as they picked up a mid-lane IO for Dendi.
Then we're gonna see a solo mid-wisp?
Potential solo mid-wisp.
In a back and forth game that went right down to the wire, Na'Vi prevailed after a grueling 47 minutes of intense gameplay, moving one win away from claiming the Aegis of Champions.
pulls his head up, down the middle lane. GG!
Alliance, who had drafted standard lineups up until now, picked up a mid-Night Stalker.
And it's a Night Stalker. There's your tempo controller.
Dominating Navi and securing a Game 4 win to push the battle for the ages to a Game 5.
The Swedish Monsters, they force a Game 5!
Game 5 is still considered one of the greatest Dota 2 spectacles of all time. Navi got to a lead right off the bat when Alliance tried to gank Havost on Alchemist with their offensive Trillian and Bulldog's Nature's Prophet TPing in. However, Havost single-handedly outplayed the entirety of Alliance, securing 3 kills in a 1 vs 4 and snowballing Navi to a lead.
Is he gonna get it? Havost gets the double kill! My god! Havost is simply too damn good!
1v4.
Navi secure themselves quite a large goal lead and look to be snowballing to a second TI win. They got themselves into the Rosh pit, but S4 made an amazing play, stealing the ages and turning the tides.
Just with a sliver of HP, if Dendy gets this, they might not be able to stop him.
S4. TP back in here, any fascists? There's a stun on Dendy! Dendy's dropping low! Roshan!
S4 picks up the ages! Alliance is still in Game 5!
Eventually, S4's now famous $1 million dream calls clinched the victory for the Swedish team. One just outside the tower base prevented 3 of Navi, and then another dream call at the close of the game which kept Dendy and Puppy away long enough for Alliance to claim the throne.
Do it! The Kings of the North!
Alliance wins! They win TI3!
The Alliance just won $1.4 million. They are your International 3 champions. They have taken home the first ever International for the Swedes.
While both teams have undergone countless roster changes, Alliance vs Navi still holds a very special place in the Dota 2 world, and a clash between these two juggernauts brings in hundreds of thousands of fans simply because it was the El Clasico.
Thank you.